Namaste. We're here at the Princeton YMCA for our monthly Sunday program on the last Sunday of each month. It's raining today, so we decided to move back indoors, which we do every year. We encourage you to join us. Vedic cultural immersion, Prasadam, and Kirtan. So every year we move back inside when it gets cold or when it rains. And we have Kirtan indoors. We distribute the sanctified vegetarian meals. We have lots of yummy prasad. We hope that you will come and join, have some prasad, enjoy Kirtan, a very ecstatic celebration. Today is the day after a holy day called Radhastami, the appearance or birthday of Srimati Radharani. And we hope, by the grace of the Lord that we can have a very ecstatic, transcendental program here. By the grace of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhardev Goswami Maharaj, and our serving director, our Siksha Gurudev, Om Vishnu Pad, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj. So, we are here, and we are awaiting Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, come and join us.
No, this is my house stand for more calories. I haven't seen you for a long time, man.
Oh, we're here
I've seen you when he does pujas.
Yeah, every last
We brought
Sunday.
a lot of new ones now.
Yes, we got new ones.
You know what, from India?
She donated.
You
ordered
were
them online.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's great.
Thank you.
You need to.
Yeah. Usually they're tied together.
Very good tied together.
Mine are tied together. I love playing these
Yeah.
mandiras. You call them mandiras too? Or you call them
Cartels.
Cartels.
Typically, when we do the kirtans, we
There's a temple in Lawrenceville on the way to Ewing.
do
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
One.
Near Lawrenceville
We
Village.
were meant to go there.
Lawrenceville Village.
We haven't
Have you
gone
guys
there.
participated in the kirtan before?
I'll play good online. Oh,
We
okay.
haven't
Have you guys participated in the kirtan before?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Lots of times. Yesterday was Srimati Radharani's appearance day, Radhastami. So today's celebration is in honor of Srimati Radharani.
Right. Can I ask you a question before you begin?
Yeah.
It's off the topic. You know the Swami Narayan
Mm-hmm.
they have in Robbinsville. What is that?
What is that?
What is that Swami Narayan?
They worship Lord Vishnu in the form of their guru, Swami Narayan. They have
Vishnu is Krishna. Narayan is Krishna.
Correct. So if you go there, they also, in the very back, they have Swami Narayan deities, but along the side, they have Vishnu and Lakshmi deity. They worship Lord Vishnu, but in the form of their guru is different. Swami Narayan. He's someone who was living in India many hundreds of years ago, I believe. He was a very pious individual. He was a yogi, much amazing yoga practices, a lot of public works, and he was a devotee. And so the Swami Narayan here in Robbinsville were followers of him. Srimati Radharani's appearance was yesterday, so we're trying to, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, by the grace of Srila Sridhar Maharaj and our Gurudev, Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we're trying to just do some humble service by the grace of Radharani and remember her in Krishna's pastimes. And however we can serve, we're just trying to do that very humbly. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Asa Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Raksha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Niskam Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai.
Jai.
Glories to the assembled devotees, of glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhakti Vedarinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Srimati Radharani Shri Radhastami Mahamahotsav Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Nrsimhapuri Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai.
Jai.
Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju Ki Jai.
Jai.
Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai.
Jai.
Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai.
Jai.
Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai.
Jai.
Sham Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai.
Jai.
Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai.
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanand. Hari Hari Hari
Hari Krishna Kesava Das Ki Jai.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to have a seat or?
No, I think we're
We're
good.
good? Okay, well, thank you for coming. So the last Sunday of every month, we're here.
Thank you very much.
And that's
Yeah.
Krishna Kesava Das. And thank you. You usually swim here?
We just started actually.
Oh,
And
nice.
It's just supposed to be day one and the pool is closed.
And the pool is closed, I
But
know.
at least we got darshan and everything today, so it's okay.
Okay, it's all good. It's
Yeah.
all good.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
seeing
Hope
us.
to see you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye. It's coming from Brahma. It's called Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Swami Narayan. It's coming from Lakshmi. They're following Ramanuja chart. It's Lakshmi, Ramanuja. That's Sampradaya, and then Swami Narayan. So they're considered bona fide Vaishnavas. Sripad Puri Maharaj has confirmed that. They used to help us. We know we used to help with the Prasad. But they recently had their own programs, so they were in a different place to help.
No, I did not know that there were some others. Okay.
Yeah, so they're bona fide Vaishnava. But I mean, of course, they practice a little differently than us, but they're bona fide Vaishnavas.
Okay. Very well explained. Thank you
Which
very
is
much.
the drum is this, and there's no harmony or anything, just simple piano.
What time is it?
No background music.
So let's try to join it like on Saturday. Even if you're like
2:38. 2:38. Thank you.
So you are like, you are, I know it's 10 minutes over again, but where, if you're going on New Jersey Turnpike,
Oh, the 16 W.
so you're very close.
But I can take 16. 15 W because it's a
there's a
car.
lot of people
I
come in
just think that was it.
You roll down here.
like more people join us sometimes.
Very nice meeting you
When we
again.
did that
We'll
time.
come back.
Yeah, it all depends. depends on the week and
You
what
come
people.
every
Sometimes
Saturday
more
or
people
Sunday?
No, it's gonna be difficult for me to drive up there, but
No, you come
Prabhu, I
yours.
wanted to ask you
Oh,
if
you
you
just- I
ever
mean,
wanted
next
to
month.
learn what you were
Yeah.
playing.
They have it every
How did you
Sunday.
learn
Every
it?
last Sunday?
Redundant?
Last Sunday.
Just by,
Redundant.
just by listening to
next
other
time
people
I'll
play.
see.
I don't play so well actually. There are people who play very, very nice. But just by listening.
So you just like got a madanga and you started playing, or you
Well,
got
this-
a lesson?
My Guru Dev gave me that. Sripad Puri Maharaj, this was a Mridanga he had at the Bhaktivedanta Institute for a long time. And so we just use it.
But you started playing on and learned it on your own?
Well, I came to the Institute and there was devotees there who played.
My
Yeah.
friend Rupesh, he's well, he learned it just by listening.
Yeah.
You played, you
By
just like,
association, just by associating with devotees.
I tell like I always tell Rupesh to teach me because he's always like he's always
So
playing
also
the Genghis.
this is easy.
before Krishna Keshava Das came to the Bhaktivedanta Institute, he was doing sound healing work.
That's not sound fun.
I know, but I'm just saying that you were already playing
So you had some
instruments.
instrumentation background. I play guitar and bass. So.
But you're saying you it was easy for you to pick this up, madanga.
Sometimes they have me bring my bass to Kirtan and I'll play.
Nice, nice.
The Radha Yatra
We want to
festival.
continue like coming.
Did you?
So like the next time we come, there may be more devotees outside.
Or Parsippany was the
I'm
temple
asking.
opening. They had a Radha
He's,
Yatra
it's,
festival
the
in
program is run by Puri Maharaj
Oh, I didn't know.
and,
Yeah.
and
I went to New York City one time in
Keshava Das is
2018.
the assistant.
We went to
director.
She's asking if
actually
I'm over outside.
Janmashtami last year.
Oh, if we're outside, are there more people? It depends on the week, it depends on how busy people are,
I
what
think
the
every
day
time it's doing
is,
some
but
regular.
you know, what they're doing that day, but sometimes we have
You
the
said the
tents
Brooklyn
full,
ones?
sometimes it's very light,
YouTube about that.
so
Okay,
it's a
yeah.
mix.
So he would have done it even if there was just him.
Oh, we've
always,
done it with
yeah.
just the three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's every last Friday, every last Friday.
Nobody shows up. You just do three of
The
you.
three of, I call it, I say family kirtan.
Family Kirtan.
We just want, you know, whoever comes.
We'll do it like the two of us will meditate
Would
together.
love
We'll
that.
do the Kirtan.
You family kirtan for everybody.
Yeah, like, do a
No,
family
but
Kirtan.
it's good to do it.
I,
Right?
yeah, we
You
want,
guys
we
associate
want.
together, it's very nice.
And Bhakti studies like 20 people or 30 and we do it
Yeah.
Kirtan and then the format is a Kirtan, then we'll do a reading from Gita, someone reads the purport and we'll go around to the Sanskrit and then someone will give a lecture, then we'll have Prasadam. That's
Nice.
it's someone's house every other Friday.
Oh, nice, very nice.
Yeah,
It's
so it's
all
very
we can read a
cool.
little bit more about the pastimes.
Yes.
We
So
still
you do a paragraph or something? Or you
we could, that would be very nice.
Okay.
Absolutely. So this is one book called Religion of the Heart
Okay.
by His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. Srila Govinda Maharaj is the successor Acharya of Srila Sri Ram Maharaj. So
I've
it's
seen it.
yeah, let's see, I think I took a photo of Srila Govinda Maharaj.
Yes, okay.
It's a very beautiful book. One of his disciples put this together. So,
The reason why you wear goggles.
No, exactly.
just, you can start,
And I
the
don't
first
think
chapter is called The Service of Vrindavan.
Okay.
So of course, Vrindavan is, that's where Radha and Krishna are living, right? In the spiritual world, right? The whole idea is this mundane world, everything we see here, all the relationships in between people, you know, lovers, parents and children, friends, neutrality, servanthood, all these kind of relationships are a reflection. They're here, obviously, in this world, we know that much, but in the Vedas it describes it, it's a reflection in the spiritual world. So these relationships, people, persons are existing eternally. The soul is existing eternally in the spiritual world, and these relationships among the souls are also existing. But the difference is, in the material world, the relationships are not so much based off of pleasing God, it's more about pleasing each other's senses. So in the spiritual world, all the relationships are in relation to Krishna. So there are different places in the spiritual existence. One is called Vaikuntha, where they worship God as Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, in a very opulent way, where that's where God is worshipped as God, as the most powerful being in the world. Because because some people actually have an inclination for that. They want to think of God, and they want to think of God in that way only, as the most opulent, as the greatest supreme being. But then we find out that beyond Vaikuntha, that is called Vaikuntha, is Vrindavan, Goloka. And in Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna is actually the source of Vishnu, is called Godhead, personality of Godhead, Krishna. And in that, in Krishna's pastimes, he's not wanting, and the devotees who are around him don't want to see him as God. They don't want to see him as the supreme, most powerful being. They're seeing him as a little 8-year-old cowherd boy playing with the cows in the forests of Vrindavan, with his gopas, the cowherd boys, and his girlfriends, the gopis, gopas and gopis, the cowherd boys and cowherd girls. And he has parents who are treating him just like a little boy, scolding him, punishing him, loving him, giving him hugs, all these things, punishing him. And he has friends, he has a brother, a sister. And then, so among all those different relationships, the Srimati Radharani is the highest relationship. And so that's who we're honoring today. And this chapter is called The Service of Vrindavan. So it's in that frame of Vrindavan where Krishna is not thought of as the supreme being. He's thought of as very intimate, humble, pure relationships of lovers or son or parent or friend. Those kind of very intimate, very playful relationships. So it's a very different idea than worshiping God as the supreme being. So this is where this chapter begins. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Sri Sri Radha Govinda. He appeared in this world to relish the sweetness of the transcendental mellows which Srimati Radharani tasted in love of Krishna. Krishna did not have that opportunity. Therefore, he appeared as Sri Gaurangadev. We can understand this by this shloka of Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Vadini Shaktir Asmad Ekatmana Vapi Bhuvi Pura Deha Vedam Gatoto Chaitanya Kyam Prakatam Arhuna Tadvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhava Dyuti Shuva Vitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 1.5. Srila Rupa Goswami has also written Sri Radha Pranaya Mahi Madkirsho Vanayaiva Svadyo Yena Bhutan Madhu Vimo Kidrishova Madhya Shokyam Chasya Mad Anubhav Tad Kibrisham Reti Loba Tad Bhavadya Samajani Sachivada Sindhu Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 156.
The supreme devotee of the Lord. Once our Guru Maharaj, Om Vishnu Padad, Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj was preaching in South India. He was invited to speak in assembly of pandits. When Srila Guru Maharaj was seated at the pandits, asked him some questions. Is it this one?
It's correct, yeah.
Okay. The supreme devotee of the Lord. Since our Guru Maharaj, Om Vishnu Pradhan, Srila Bhakti Raksak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj was preaching in South India, and he was invited to speak in an assembly of pandits. When Srila Guru Maharaj was seated at the pandits, asked him some questions. They were all expert in Sanskrit and vastly learned in all respects. They asked him who, in his opinion, was the supreme devotee of the Lord. They said they considered the Chatushan, the 4 Kumar sages, Sanat, Sanatan, Sanandam, and Sanat Kumar to be the supreme devotees of the Lord. At first, Srila Guru Maharaj did not say anything, so the head pandit directly asked him, "Can you tell us, sir, who do you think the best devotee of the Lord is?" Srila Guru Maharaj said, "I can tell you, but can you accept what I said?" The head pandit replied, "Yes, if it is reasonable, we can accept it." Then Guru Maharaj said, in our conception, the Chahu son are primary great devotees. The Pandits were shocked to hear this. They asked Guru Maharaj who in his opinion was a higher class devotee. Guru Maharaj answered, this is the sloka in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It differs from your claim, and since you have all read Srimad Bhagavatam, why do you say the four Kumaras are the supreme devotees? Then Guru Maharaj quoted the sloka.
If you like.
Tatami prayatama atma yonir nan sankara nancha sankara sanona shrir naneva atma cha yadapavan.
You read this so beautifully.
Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam 11, 14, 15. And this part.
If you like to continue, or you can pass it along if you like, whatever.
Okay. I could read. You want to read to there? You want to read this part?
You can finish.
I'll finish.
Can you go on reading?
As long
To
as
seven. Yeah,
You
okay.
can read the
Page 9, okay.
Uh-huh.
Here Lord Krishna says that Uddhava, the Chadusan's father, Lord Brahma, is their guru, but he is not as dear to me as you are. Even Sankar, Lord Shiva, the greatest Vaishnava, who is also chanting my holy name, is not as dear to me as you. Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune who resides on my chest, is also not as dear as me to you. Even my own self, Naivatma, is not as dear as you are to me. You are my most dear devotee. Krishna told Uddhava he is the most dear devotee, and when Srila Guru Maharaj gave this answer, the Pandits were stunned. But after Uddhava went to Vrindavan and saw the Vraja Gopis and the Vrajavasis' mood of devotion, dedication, and wholehearted service, he said, Asamaho charana renu jusham aham sayam viraneve kim api golma latusa sadinanam Yad katastijam svajanam aryapatam chahiva Bahishar Bokanda Adivam Shruvadir Gopriyam Srimad Bhagavatam 47:61. If I could take my birth as a piece of grass on the footpaths of Vrindavan, where the Vraja Gopis walk, so the dust of their feet will bless me, I will feel my life is successful. There is no doubt Krishna is more satisfied by the devotion of Gopis than he is satisfied with his dearest disciple Brahma, or with his dear brother Saksara, or with Lakshmi Devi, who also resides on his chest, or even his dearmost devotee, Lord Shiva. The Vrajavasis, especially the Vraja Gopis, have this type of dedication, devotion, and wholehearted service attitude, and Uddhava, the dearest devotee and disciple of Lord Krishna, declares this. This is real Krishna consciousness, and real Krishna consciousness is proceeding in this life.
Yeah, very humble, right? Crying in a very humble way.
Krishna Arjuna's charioteer. Many people have many different ideas and conceptions about Krishna consciousness, but they all accept Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. In some of them, Krishna's position is like that of a master. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches Arjuna like a spiritual master. He gives spiritual knowledge to him, so the followers of this line generally worship the Gita Krishna, or the Krishna who presented the Bhagavad Gita to the world. An example of this is when Krishna and Arjuna were on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and they saw millions of soldiers ready to fight. Previously, Duryodhana and Arjuna both wanted to ask Krishna for his help in the battle. So when Krishna was sleeping, they both wanted to see him. When Krishna awoke, he saw Arjuna first. Duryodhana was a great personality and like an elder brother to Arjuna. But when Krishna saw Arjuna first, he asked him why he had come. Arjuna said, King Yudhishthir has sent me to ask for your help in the battle of Kurukshetra. Krishna said, I thought that was the reason you came, and I think Duryodhana has also come for the same reason, but I'm not going to fight in this battle. I shall not use any weapons. If I can give any other help, I will do that. I have millions of soldiers and they can fight. I'm giving you first choice. Arjuna, please choose. Arjuna said, I need you. Krishna said, all right. Then Krishna looked to Duryodhana and said, is that all right with you? Are you happy? Duryodhana said, yes. That is very good, especially if you will not fight. Is that your promise? Krishna replied, yes, I shall not fight. Then Duryodhana said, if you will not fight, Then what Arjuna said is all right with me. Shall I get all your soldiers? Krishna agreed and said yes. Both left very happily. Duryodhana was thinking he had all Krishna's soldiers, and Arjuna was happy because Krishna had accepted his proposal. After Duryodhana left, Arjuna stayed, and Krishna said, Arjuna, you are very foolish. Why did you take me when you heard I would not fight? You could have had all of my soldiers. Arjuna said, I'm not afraid to fight with that group. It is not difficult to fight with them. I can fight with everybody, but I need your help in this battle. I have one request from you. Krishna said, what is your request? Arjuna asked, will you be my chariot driver while I am fighting? Krishna was very happy to hear this. He said, to be a chariot driver is not such a respectable position, but to be your driver is very respectable. I accept your proposal. I will be very happy to stay with you. When both sides are ready to fight, Arjuna said, Senor Ubhayor Madhaye Ratham Sthapaya Mi Chyuta Bhagavad Gita 1.21. O Krishna, please place my chariot between the two armies. I want to see who has come to fight. This is very nice and express is one form of Krishna. He's carrying out the order of Arjuna, and then he instructs Arjuna as a spiritual master.
So this is pointing out a very important spiritual lesson here in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna
I love you.
gives the option. So there's two sides, right? The setting of Bhagavad Gita is a war between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. The Kauravas are a group of, basically materialists who are hungry for power and to conquer these kind of things. And the Pandavas are a very pious group of individuals who are devotees. They all love Krishna very much, and they're looking to develop their consciousness in a spiritual way. And so this is actually one giant family of like thousands of individuals actually. And Krishna is a part of that family. And so Krishna gives the generals of both of the armies the option, being he wants to be impartial to some extent. So he gives the option first to the general of the materialists, the Kauravas. He says, would you like me to be with you, or would you like my army? At this point, Krishna is also, at this point in his pastimes, he's a king of a city called Dwarka, and he has a massive army himself who he could lend to one of the two sides. So the general of the materialists said, what kind of question is that? You're one person. Or I can have millions of your most powerful soldiers and people. I want them. I want them. Of course, if I want to win the war, that means I need more power, more. That's the idea of the materialists. I need more power. It's about that kind of self-assertive approach to basically cultivating enjoyment. Krishna said, okay, they're yours. Take them. Take my soldiers.
Also, there's no vision there. He's just seeing what's in front of him, not what could be.
Yeah, exactly. Not what could be. And he's not understanding who Krishna is.
Yeah.
He's taking Krishna as just his family member. He's taking Krishna as my cousin with lots of money and army, and he's offering that to me, and I want that. And so then he offers to Arjuna, who is the general of the spiritual individuals. He says, Arjuna, what can I give to you? He said, and then Arjuna says, I know who you are. You're not just my cousin. I understand exactly who you are. You're the Supreme Lord coming to have these pastimes in this world for our benefit. This is your mercy. And since I'll be leading the army, if you could just be the charioteer of my chariot, and this way I know you'll be very close to me, and as long as you're close to me, then there's nothing that I cannot accomplish for your service. And so in that way, the idea that's is trying to be offered is that when we are cultivating our consciousness to be aware that the absolute is there and that we are relative, and that if we can try to dovetail all of our activities in that direction without any consideration for any other relative ideas, just understanding our position as relying on the absolute, and we can in a very practical way, really come to see reality in that way, then everything else is accomplished. Actually, Sripad Puri Maharaj was just mentioning during yesterday's Sangha online how these 4 things people pursue: artha, dharma, kama, and moksha. It is artha, it is material wealth. I want material wealth. Kama is lust. I want to feel my senses really. I want to feel really good. I want to have lots of sex. I want to see beautiful things. I want to hear beautiful things. I want to taste tasty things. I want to touch very nice, smooth, pretty things. And then dharma. And then there are individuals who actually who they get their enjoyment from being seen as very pious, peaceful, religious people. So Krishna is actually saying, even give that up. That's not even, because you're still just trying to feel good about yourself by being seen as a very pious person. He says, give all that up. And then, so people who either want those 3 things, artha, dharma, kama, or they realize that that's all no good, so then they want moksha, they want liberation. It's still self-centered though. They say, I recognize the material world is bogus, I'm not enjoying that because I keep getting one thing and I thought I wanted it, I thought it would give me all that satisfaction, and I got it finally, and now I want something else. Now I'm not satisfied anymore. And then I'm kind of tired of just going through this thing, so I recognize that's not how I want to dedicate my life, so I just reject all of it. Still, we're not thinking of the absolute thing, still we're not taking a humble position, we're still in a self-centered position, we just at least have enough wisdom to realize, don't go for the material world. So Krishna says, reject all those things. And Sripad Puri Maharaj yesterday was saying, when we give all those things up and we have no other motivation except pure service to Krishna, then those things actually come as facility for service. Because still we're in this world, right? Still we're in this world, still these money, sensual, eating, tasting things that are good, saying they're pretty sun, all these things are still there in our experience. So then what are we supposed to do with that if we decide that we do want to just give ourselves to Krishna in a very pure way? Well, then all these things come to facilitate that service. Then that's called yukta vairagya. Then we can use everything. We can use money. We can use tasty food as prasad to offer. We can use money to build a nice temple, or to distribute prasad to the masses, or to build a school, an institute, the Bhaktivedanta Institute. We can use all those things for the service, and they all come to facilitate the service. But when we're going after them for self-centered reasons, they become obstacles. But when we're having a pure heart, then they're all becoming helpful. So actually, from one perspective, the environment can be very dangerous because we're just trying to enjoy it for ourselves, and the environment is coming to lead us away from the spiritual. Or if we have a pure heart, then the environment is coming to support our effort and is going to actually help us by providing so many resources that we can dedicate back to Krishna. So in that part of the book that we were just reading, we can see that dichotomy between the materialists who just want to use everything, the Kauravas, or the Pandavas like Arjuna, who recognizes that Krishna is at the center, and as long as Krishna is in our heart, then everything else will happen by his direction of its own accord. It will happen very nicely, very nicely.
That's what we don't get trapped in Maya and the cycle of birth, age, disease, and death, or choose everything Krishna.
And so we're still here with this experience, and
We can enjoy these in moderation with Krishna centered first.
exactly,
Leave this here for you.
Stuck in the trap.
exactly. Yeah. And we can see that we're relative, no matter what. Hare Krishna Mataji. We're here having this Hare Katha. Yesterday was Radhastami, Radharani's appearance, birthday. So today we're honoring Srimati Radharani by this prasad distribution, and we were just reading a little bit from this book about Krishna's pastimes, trying to remember. Yes. So if you like, it's already 3 o'clock, but typically we end now, but if you like, we can read a little more. If you'd like to hear some Hare Katha, do you want to stay for a little while, or do you have to go?
I want to stay, I want to hear, yeah. Sorry about that, I didn't know that it's going on, otherwise I would have come earlier.
Yeah, we come on the last Sunday of every month here,
Oh, okay.
from 1 to 3 o'clock.
1, 2, 3.
And it's posted on their website here at the Y, and on social media and our website we have some information if you'd like to look at that and add it for next month. You can come, please.
Sure.
So we're reading from this book here. And let's just see where where did you stop reading?
The Arjuna part, right?
Oh, sorry, I finished this.
You finished that.
Yeah, started from here.
Would you like to continue your reading?
Oh, yes.
It's at the bottom here.
Mhm.
We can do that.
Subjective perceptions of the Lord. When Krishna was fighting with Kamsa in Mathura, he was young and apparently unqualified. When he came to kill Kamsa, he wasn't carrying much with him. He had only a flute and a stick for herding cows. His dhoti was rolled up like short pants. Kamsa had invited Krishna in order to kill him. Eternally, Kamsa announced there would be a wrestling match, so there could be some sport between Krishna and Balaram and his wrestlers, but secretly Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna. One sloka in Srimad Bhagavatam explained how different types of persons saw Krishna when he entered the arena. Okay. Malanam asanar nirnam nara vara strinam smaro mortiman gopanam sva jano satam siti bujam sasta sva pitro sisa mirtur boja patir virat avidusam tatvam param yoganam vrisinam para devatiti vidito ragam gata sagraha. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.43.17. All the wrestlers saw Krishna as death personified, Malanam Asanam. They were very much afraid to see this 14-year-old boy who looked like he was 21. He was tall and wore his dhoti very short, like pants. When he entered the arena, all the fighters were thinking death personified had come to kill them. Nirnam Nara Vara, all the kings and their sons, the princes, saw Krishna as the king of kings. He was actually a cowherd boy, but he appeared as the greatest of all kings. Strinam Smaro Murtanman, the women were also invited to see the fighting. And when they saw Krishna, they saw him as the embodiment of Cupid. When they saw Krishna's beauty and effulgence, they fainted. The cowherd men were also invited. Gopanam Sva Jano Satam. Everyone was invited. The cowherd men were thinking, our friend is coming. Now a member of our society is coming. Our boy is coming. The evil kings who were always harassing their people were thinking, our ruler is coming to punish us. Kisiti Bujam Sasta. Nandan Maharaj and his fatherly group of friends were thinking, our own boy has come. Sva Pitro Sisu. Kamsa was thinking his death had come in the form of Balaram and Krishna. Murtyur Boja Patir. All the religious experts were thinking, Paramatma has come in the form of Balaram and Krishna. Virad Avidusam Tatvam. The yogis were thinking, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has come. Tatvam Param Yoginam. And Vrishnanam Paradavatiti. The members of the Yadu dynasty were thinking, our worshipable relative has come. Vidito Rangam Gata Sagraha. The perfect conception of Krishna consciousness. But a very few exceptional devotees and those who have the finest conception of Krishna consciousness and who come in the line of Sriman Mahaprabhu think the perfect conception of Krishna consciousness is fully manifest in Prasadam, where there are 5 kinds of divine ecstatic relationships playing freely and happily with the Lord. A small hint of Krishna's transcendental abode is given in the Brahma Samhita. When Mahaprabhu was in South India, he discovered the Brahma Samhita. He had previously heard of it, but when he saw it, he was surprised and said, "Say Punti Nila Lekaya, give me the 5th chapter. The whole book of 100 chapters isn't necessary. I want only the 5th chapter for my devotees." He brought Sri Brahma Samhita as well as Sri Krishna Karnamrta back from South India to Jagannath Puri. You want me to keep going, or?
It's up to you. Just so,
It's 3 p.m.
just if you have to go, I understand.
No, but we are enjoying them.
It's okay.
I think they'll come every week.
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Every last Sunday.
Every last
Yeah.
Sunday.
I just wanted to mention, so this last
Yes.
part that you read, it's very interesting. So, you know, Krishna's historical pastimes on this earth were recorded in scriptures like Bhagavatam. So one of the interesting things that occurred was that when he was there in this city to attend this wrestling match with this Kamsa, he wasn't wrestling Kamsa, he was wrestling 2 of Kamsa's men, and he was there with his brother, Balaram. So the 2 wrestlers, Kamsa was another materialist who, Krishna was spoiling his plans, so he wanted to kill Krishna. And Krishna was a little boy, basically a teenager, they were explaining. So was his brother Balaram. And so he had these 2 very big muscular wrestlers come, and he challenged them. He couldn't just kill them outright. So he'd try to do it in a sneaky way by saying, okay, come wrestle, and then you get killed there. So the people in attendance to watch this match, because Mathura is the capital city, so it's, many people, different kinds of people, all from different areas would come to the city to watch. So they all were looking at Krishna, and they all saw something very, very different. And so this is, in this world, right? People see God in such different ways, right? So some people become very envious, right? Like an atheist, the concept of God has to be very strong and potent inside an atheist for them to reject it in such a deep, violent way. Like they have to be very, whatever that relationship is, they have to feel it in a very strong way for them to be so hateful towards it, to reject it in such a way. And then there are other people who see God, like we were saying before, in a very opulent way. They have to see God as the supreme being that we, feel very religious and pious by worshiping. And that's how they have to relate to God, by their own. And then others will see Krishna in a very different way, as a little boy, right? Where you don't find that conception very often, to hear God like that. But God is a little boy playing in the cowherd fields and forests. And so the infinite, right, can manifest, is called Anantarupa, can have infinite form, can be seen from infinite perspectives. And so everyone's relationship with God is different. And so this was seen in that pastime where everyone was in the wrestling stadium and they were seeing Krishna. And although they were looking at the same transcendental divine person, they all saw him very differently, based on their own self. They were kind of seeing.
It's funny because when I was reading it, obviously I didn't understand what I was reading, but then it defined itself as it revealed each like you said, perception of what Krishna was to them. I was like, he's everything to everybody.
So if you feel like my whole body is kind of sensational, like once he opened his mouth and you could see whole universe in his mouth, like whole universe. He's a person. He came like a person, right? And still, and you cannot come to know unless you have that kind of connection. He is telling you all the good things, all the things that is good for the universe. But unless or until I have connection with you, you cannot, or you have connection with you cannot understand me, right?
You have to be
So if
receptive
that
to it.
connectivity is there, then you can see whole
The whole
everything.
picture, right?
Yeah.
One point though that is very prominent in with Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching, is that although all the souls are called Jivaras for Boy Krishnara Nityadas, Jivara Tatasta Shakti Veda Veda Prakash, they're all having a relationship with Krishna as his Tatasta Shakti. But in our current position, it's not recommended by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to try to establish a relationship with Krishna directly,
Right.
because we end up just following our own mind.
Right.
So it's always through the bona fide spiritual master, through Gurudev, because the whole concept of parampara, of that descending line of qualified individuals who have heard and learned.
Spiritual master, spiritual master, spiritual master.
That's right, yeah. So that relationship between guru and disciple is one of the key points for us to actually awaken our Krishna consciousness. It's not directly with Krishna, it's only through Gurudev. It's one important point.
Can I continue?
Please, Maharaj.
Yes, please do.
Vrindavan Dham is expressed in Sri Brahma Smriti. During Lord Brahma's meditation on the Gayatri Mantra, Lord Brahma heard the transcendental sound vibration of Krishna flute, and the whole realm of Vrindavan Dham revealed itself in his heart. He saw everything. The transcendental abode of Krishna, the Vraj gopis playing, and the cowherd boy, the trees, the plants, and infinite variety of beautiful flowers, lush ripe fruits, and crystal clear water. He saw the complete environment of Vrindavan in the meditation, and he expressed this in Sri Brahma Smrita. Shriya Kanta sorry. Shriya Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpatara Dhruma Bhumis Chintamani Gana Mai Toyam Amratam Katha Gyanam Natyam Gamanam Api Vansi Priya Shakshi Chida Anandamam Jyoti Parama Api Tat Aswadam Api Cha Sa Yatra Krisha Badhi Sravati Srovi Vyasa Cha Sumaham Nimeshar Dakyo Vrajati Nahi Yadrapi Samaya Bheje Svetavad Vipam Tamaham Iha Golokam Idiyam Vedantas Te Santas Sisti Virala Chara Kati Pae Shriya Kanta Parama Purusha. All the women in Krishna's abode are very beautiful. They are like beautiful goddess, and all wealth is with them. They are always trying to satisfy Krishna, and they always worship him. In Vrindavan, Krishna is the only enjoyer, and everyone supplies enjoyment to him. Therefore, they get double enjoyment. When someone supplies food to another person who gets the most enjoyment, the person who supplies the food gets the most enjoyment. The person who supplies the food gets the most enjoyment. Krishna is the only enjoyer, but those who supply enjoyment to him get even more enjoyment than him. There is no sadness in Krishna's abode. Everything exist in a very happy and ecstatic mood when you eat an apple. The apple is happy to be eaten by you, and you are happy when you are eating the apple. Both are happy. When someone is eating a banana, the banana is happy and laughing. When a person is eating, he is very happy. Everyone is always very happy in Krishna's abode. In Krishna's abode, all the trees are fulfilling trees. Kalpataru, if you want a mango from a banana tree, you can get a mango. If you want an apple from a jackfruit tree, you can get an apple. And the earth, Bhumi's Chintamani, can give you anything you want. If you want milk, wheat, or anything, you can get it from the earth. The residents of Vrindavan don't wear any golden rings, pearls, or any jewelry. It is not because there is no jewelry in Vrindavan. It is because they like the flowers of Vrindavan. They wear flower jewelry. Every flower is very beautiful and glorious. There is one special flower in heaven called the Parijat. You know, Parijat is what it's called.
Lord Indra's flower.
I'm sorry?
Lord Indra is Lord Indra's flower.
Yeah, which has
What color is
orange, white and orange at the, it is actually, no, it is grown in tropical area where and it's very small and all petals are there, and between the petals there is orange, and it's very pious flower, very healthy flower. Whatever you have, if you take that, it's a medicine kind of. Yeah. So Parijat flower in Vrindavan, everywhere you will see beautiful flowers. We have had a little experience of this when we went to Badrika Ashram on Parikrama. There were flowers growing everywhere. It is natural flower garden. No one gives them any nourishment. They are growing naturally. If you could see this, you would understand there are examples of Vrindavan on earth. Can I narrate what it means to say? Yeah, there is Vrindavan everywhere. If you see Parijat over there, it means there is Lord Krishna, presence of Lord Krishna. It's that kind of pious, and that's that kind of effective flower, Parijat flower. So we have had a little experience of this. When we went to Badrika Ashram on Parikrama, there were flowers growing everywhere. It is a natural flower garden. No one gives them any nourishment. They are growing naturally. If you could see this, you would understand the examples of Vrindavan on earth. Of course, one example is not fully sufficient by itself, but it can give us an idea of the reality of the divine land. Toyam Amratam. All the water in that divine land is like nectar, and the talking is like the sweet singing of words. Katha Ganam. From outside you can distinguish whether they are talking or singing. You will think they are all singing, but actually they are talking. Natyam Gamanam Api. All the walking in Vrindavan is like dancing. You can't tell the difference between walking and dancing. They are always dancing. Api Vamsi Priya Sakshi. The sound of Krishna flute is always flowing over Vrindavan. Only one song comes from Krishna's flute, and that's the sound of Gayatri Mantra. Om. Are you aware of Gayatri? I think you should narrate that Gayatri Mantra. It is.
You can just continue what Govinda Maharaj is saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can deliver the entire world. Only one sound is necessary to rescue the whole world, and that is the song of Krishna flute. Do you want me to continue?
If you like, you're welcome to.
Okay.
Is
I
there more?
have finished here until here, so if you want, I can come.
Someone's
Finish
finished.
the chapter. Okay. Complete fulfillment. We can't imagine how much happiness exists in Vrindavan. Everything is gracious, glorious, and extremely beautiful there. Paramar love, Prakya Bhava is extremely beautiful there. Sometimes Mother Yasoda is frying food, and when Krishna smells it, he says, "Give it to me now, and I can't wait." Mother Yasoda said, wait, wait, I'll give it to you on a plate. And Krishna said again, I can't wait, I don't want to wait, I must have it now. This is characteristics of the mood of Parakriya Bhava, which is more worshipable than other rasas and finds its highest expression in Parama love. In Vrindavan, Krishna is always playing with his friends. Sometimes when he plays his flute, he said he would like to play in such and such kunja forest grove with certain friends. Sometimes he puts his hand on his hair and all the girls think it is a signal. He will play with them in Kesi Kunja. Kesi means hair, so the girls think of arranging things there for playing. Lord Brahma described the abode of Sri Krishna in the prayer of Brahma Samhita, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given the gist of that conception in a sloka composed by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Aradhyo Bhagavan Bharaje Satanyaj Tad Dhama Vrindavana Navanam Ramya Kachida Upasana Braja Vadhu Varjena Yakal Pita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amlamam Premam Prumarato Mahana Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matam Idamam Tatra Daruna Paraha. The essence of this sloka is, if you want to worship anything for your complete fulfillment, you must worship Krishna, the supreme conception. What are the qualities and qualification of Krishna? What do you need? You need love, beauty, charm, ecstasy, affection and harmony. All these qualities are present in Krishna. If your master is rich with all the wealth of love, beauty, charm and ecstasy, you won't experience any deficiency. You will get everything through his mercy. Krishna has many expansions and they also possess these qualities of wealth, beauty, love and charm. This is the Vedic conception, the conception of Veda Vyasa and the supreme conception of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Jai Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Sridhar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
So,
I really like this.
Therese, yes, nice to meet you. Ingo.
Michael and Bhaktiji's name?
Swazi.
Swazi.
Yes.
Michael.
And your name is?
Jyotsna.
Jyotsna.
Your name, please?
Swazi.
Swazi.
Yeah, or Swasti, you can call me
Swazi.
anything.
Okay. And yeah,
Therese. Therese.
Ingo.
And Krishna Keshavadass.
Krishna. Yes, our Gurudev opened the Bhaktivedanta Institute here in Princeton back in 2012. His name is Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj. He's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Sridhar Maharaj. His background, he has a very interesting devotional life, you know. He was a scientist, a quantum chemist. He was working in Washington, D.C. And there was some some of these problems in materialistic science where they don't account for consciousness, and that comes back to, kind of bite them in some things. So when he was doing his work as a quantum chemist, there was something called the observer problem, where consciousness was affecting things at a quantum level, and they didn't know how to deal with that. And so this was bothering him, and he wanted to learn about consciousness. So he knew that the yogis knew something about consciousness. So at that time, it was 1971, and Srila Prabhupada had started the worldwide, he had spread the worldwide Krishna consciousness movement. His Gurudev Bhaktisiddhanta is the one who started it, but Prabhupada spread it very, very far, and he was here all over the United States already in the early 1970s. And so there was a temple in DC, and our Gurudev went there, and he learned from the devotees. He heard them say, You are a person and God is a person. And not many people emphasize that point. So he's here, you are a person and God is a person. And he was already very religiously inclined. And interestingly enough, the scientific education kind of took that away and convinced him of a materialistic worldview. But when he talked to the devotees, he became very inspired, and he dedicated himself fully to that. And then so he was a devotee, and then he finally met Srila Prabhupada and received initiation, and Prabhupada said, use your scientific background for Krishna's service. He says, don't forget that. He said, use your education for Krishna's service and learn this Vedic philosophy and present it, because it is itself a science. It's not just a sentimental thing. Some people, many people present it as a sentimental thing, unfortunately. But it's very rational, very scientific.
Very scientific, yeah.
And so then the Bhaktivedanta Institute was founded by there was three scientist disciples of Srila Prabhupada, right? So the founding director of the institute was Bhakti Sput Damodar Maharaj. Then there was Sarvabhuta Prabhu, and then Madhavadas, that is our Gurudev, Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj. So these are the three. They all had PhDs in the scientific or mathematical field, and they were making some conferences and presentations, educational resources to talk about these things, because they all saw those problems in science from their professional background. And then so, there's long history. Then after Srila Prabhupada was withdrawn from this world, he had selected his disciples for philosophical inquiry to continue. You can go to someone who I consider even my own Siksha Guru, what to speak of the benefit you can get from associating. That's Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Srila Sridhar Maharaj was just staying in one place, in Navadvip, West Bengal. He had one ashram there, and so some of the devotees would go to see him. And so our Sripad Puri Maharaj was one of those devotees. And then he received sannyas initiation from Sridhar Maharaj. So that's where he got the name Bhakti Madhava Puri. Before he was Madhava Das, now Bhakti Madhava Puri. And he lived there in India for about 10 years, between the Bhaktivedanta Institute in Juhu, and then in Navadvip with Sridhar Maharaj for another 5 years. And then he came back here to New Jersey and started some online. This was in the early days of the internet. He was always working on presenting things online. And then by 2012, he had set up the center here in Princeton. And so and then I came to know about that in around 2018. And so here we are trying to, have this program is very much about Bhakti Yoga in a traditional way, Kirtan and Prasad. But the Bhaktivedanta Institute, we have many resources online, educational resources about that. That's consciousness, right? The role of consciousness in science, about the role of philosophy. How does philosophy help to overcome the problems scientists are facing? And so all of these things, a lot to it, but that's one of the main services that the Institute is doing by the order of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Srila Sridhar Maharaj gave so much spiritual nourishment to Sripad Puri Maharaj and telling him how he can go forward in that service. And so that's what our institute here in Princeton is doing. So we're very happy all of you could come and associate, and we're happy to associate with you. And we have pleased Srimati Radharani on her birthday, her appearance, by the grace of our Guru Devs. So thank you.
Thank you.
And how many followers are there in your WhatsApp, like a part of the world?
The institute here, we have a small group, but the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math is also a Gaudiya Vaishnava organization across the world, many different centers.
Okay.
But our Princeton center, we have a small group, small intimate group.
Sometimes it's better.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And there's the information of the story is online as well as it's playing on
Yeah,
the
that's
screen.
on the YouTube channel, is Mahaprabhu Broadcasting Channel. And
So every morning you do it from 7:15.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday,
7:30.
7:30.
It's only for 15 minutes, right?
Sometimes 20 minutes, but
He does
it's
15
pretty
minutes
short.
prayer every day anyway. He chants.
It's always Bhagavatam. We read Bhagavatam.
So we can do it together.
Yeah.
We will
We can
start
sign
on
off.
Yeah,
YouTube.
just
Please do.
Krishna Keshav Das,
And
have
it's
your
YouTube
information,
after
and then
you
you
miss
can
it, it's on
connect
YouTube.
online
Right, we do
also.
live on Zoom, and you
You
can
wanna
join
do
that
that?
through the
But
WhatsApp,
otherwise,
or
we're
otherwise it's
here
on YouTube, yeah.
It's
in
Monday,
person
Wednesday,
every
Friday.
last Sunday
Very
of the
good. Thank you,
month,
everyone.
Prabhu, thank you.
from 1 to
Hare
3.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
You know, Radhe Radhe, you know what? I read Gita, Gita. And what is that? Actually, it's a discourse of Krishna and Lord Krishna and Arjun, right?
Yes.
And Sanjay is a chariot, no, Sanjay is like messenger kind of person. So I read twice last COVID time, and I was so engrossed with that I Prabhupada.
That Bhagavad Gita as it is, Prabhupada.
Yeah, I hear all those on YouTube. I see, I watch, and I am so impressed. And again, I like time and again I read Gita, and the more you read Bhagavad Gita, it's a philosophy of life basically. Gita is a discourse between God, Krishna, and Arjun. And once, actually nobody can overpower that. If you learn, if you read that more and more, you will come to know more philosophy of life.
You didn't fall asleep.
So I really got very, very lucky that
Oh,
I am
I'm
here.
so happy
Yeah.
that you came today.
Right.
And usually when the weather is nice, we're outside. The driveway that you come down when you come into the wine, on the left-hand side of the building, there's a big red tent, and during the summer, that's where we are. But because of the rain, we came in here, and in the wintertime, we're in here.
So how many people
Some
here?
bus or something, which is
It's,
basically
it,
a place.
Anybody can
can come, and so like Krishna Keshav was saying, it was very intimate. It's very intimate because, you know, they have a presence all around the world,
Yeah.
and they're very connected to the institute that's in India, and there were 2 Maharajas from there that came here when Krishna Keshav Das first got started. They actually put on a conference at Rutgers.
Oh, okay.
At a 2-day conference in June. It was actually Father's Day weekend in 2019. And they brought people from around the world to speak on the panel and to talk about science and scientists
Right.
versus spirituality. It was a lively conversation. And
I love that.
yeah.
I used to join that conversation and I really like that. It's not like,
Push off the next.
not even, it's not really just scientific basis. And that's the thing you want to learn and you want to listen. I like it.
And part of the story is when Puri Maharaj was talking to the scientists, when Puri Maharaj was talking to one of the scientists that was,
George Wald.
yeah, that he actually got him to see the light.
Yeah, so the goal of the Bhaktivedanta Institute, you know, by Krishna's arrangement, a very perfect example manifested very early on, and it was so Sripad Puri Maharaj in around 1976. The Bhaktivedanta Institute had their first office in Boston, and so Sripad Puri Maharaj, he was a brahmachari at that point, Madhava Das, and he went to some public discourse by Nobel laureate George Wald, a physiologist who received the Nobel Prize for finding out about vitamin A in the eye. Very intelligent scientist who was very concerned about life.
Is that the picture?
No, yeah, on the
Yeah,
left. Yeah. Very concerned about life, but he had a materialistic view of life. He didn't have any deeper idea so much yet. So then Sripad Puri Maharaj met with him at the end of the talk, and he had a couple of words with him. And so Srila Prabhupada's main lesson was, his main realization was that life comes from life. Right? Modern science says that life and consciousness, they both come from matter, just material building blocks, and life and consciousness somehow comes from that. How, they don't know, they can't do it in the lab, but it does, that's what they say. So Prabhupada said, no, life comes from life, that's what we're seeing. Right? A living mother has to give birth to a child. A child can't be built from molecules. It has to be a living mother. Even a cell has to be a living cell, can produce another living cell. So always, empirically, life comes from life. Same thing with matter. We can see that matter comes from life because we're seeing nails grow on a living body. When the body dies, the hair and the nails stop growing. But they'll grow for 100 years as long as the body's alive, right? Same thing with a tree, a small little seed. If you put the seed in the toaster oven and you kill it, and then you put it in the ground, nothing will happen. But when the seed is alive, a small little seed can turn into a California redwood that's like how many hundreds of feet tall, thick. All that matter is coming from the life. So Prabhupada said matter and life come from life. So Sripad Puri Maharaj said this to George Wald. He said, instead of saying that life comes from matter, why not consider the opposite, that matter comes from life? And so there was two Nobel laureates there. One was George Wald, the other was Albert St. Georgi. Albert St. Georgi says, no, it's too difficult. Because for him to actually work with that idea, he would have to undo so much. And he didn't want to deal with that. So he said, no, it's too difficult. But George Wald had some intelligence to understand that this is a reasonable thing. And it took some years, but maybe 3-4 years later, he would actually come. At that point, the institute had opened a big office in Juhu, Mumbai, and Sripad Puri Maharaj was the regional director of that office for many years. So George Wald came there twice, once in 1980 and once in 1982, and talked with them. There's some pictures of their interactions and discourses, and they discussed these things. And George Wald ultimately accepted and he wrote serious publications and went to many universities to speak about that consciousness is fundamental to matter. They close at 4 o'clock. So.
But I think, is that your husband? That's your husband.
Yes.
Okay, here. This is for
Hare
you.
Krishna Mataji.
So this is for you and your husband. Ooh.
Sorry.
Thank you
It's okay.
so much. Thank you for the
Thank you.
beautiful reading. Enjoy the prasadam, and I hope to see you again.
Yes, Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare
We will. Hold on, actually. I can give one. This one. Haribo. We are here finishing our program for today. Hare Krishna. Haribo.